event. Radio Algeria International, our voice in the world.
This is the English service of Radio Algeria International. It's time for the news.
The President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received the Minister of State, Minister of Mining, Industries and Geology of the Republic of Congo, Pierre Oba. The Minister of Finance, Laziz Faïd, began presenting the Finance Bill for 2025 to the Council of the Nation today at a plenary session chaired by Salah Koujil, the Speaker of the Council of the Nation, in the presence of members of the government. And the Zionist genocidal war on Gaza continues unabated, with the UN Office for the Coordination of the Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, stating that the number of the UN staff killed so far has reached 241. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail from Radio Algeria International. Good afternoon. First, the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has extended his sincere condolences and expressed his deep sympathy to the leader of the Tijaniya order, Sheikh Sidi Ali Belaribi, following the death of one of the sons of the noble Tijaniya family, Sheikh Sidi Abdel Muttalib. And the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received the Minister of State, Minister of Mining, Industries and Geology of the Republic of Congo, Pierre Oba. At the end of the meeting, Mr. Oba said that he had handed to the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, a message from his brother and friend, the President of the Republic of Congo, Denis Sassou Nguesso, as part of the strengthening of the already strong and excellent ties between the two countries. He added that the aim was to give these relations a real economic content in the hydrocarbons and mining industries, notably in the fertilizer sector, notably the exploitation and processing of phosphates and potash from the immense reserves in the Congolese subsoil. He also stressed that Algeria and the Republic of Congo have the potential to increase the volume of cooperation in the iron extraction and processing field. The Minister of Finance, Laziz Faïd, has begun presenting the Finance Bill for 2025 to the Council of the Nation today at a plenary session chaired by Salah Koujil, the Speaker of the Council of the Nation, in the presence of members of the government. The bill, already adopted by the National People's Assembly APN, is based on a fiscal reference price for a barrel of crude oil of $60 for the period 2025-2027, with a market price of $70 over the same period. The text was adopted yesterday by the National People's Assembly during a plenary session chaired by APN Speaker Brahim Boughali in the presence of the Minister of Finance Laziz Faïd and members of the government. Prime Minister Nadir Al-Arbawi has chaired a government meeting devoted to monitoring the progress made in improving and modernizing public services in implementation of the instructions of the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, according to a press release issued by the Prime Minister's office. The details in this report by our colleague Saïd Bouazi.
During the meeting, the government heard reports on the measures taken by the sectors of the interior and local assemblies, post and telecommunications, health and transport to respond to the expectations and daily concerns of the citizens by improving the quality of public services, notably by fighting against bureaucracy and the implementation of digital transformation. The government heard a statement on the progress of the project to build 5 mega seawater desalination plants in the provinces of Tipaza, Boumerdès, Oran, Bijaya and Et-Tarf, and the project to transfer groundwater from the El Getrani catchment field in Beni Wanif to supply drinking water to the towns of Bishar, Abedla and Kenadsa. The government also examined a draft presidential decree laying down the conditions and procedures for the creation and erection of artistic works in public spaces and their maintenance, which should ensure respect for the historical, cultural and social dimensions of the Algerian nation, as well as technical and aesthetic standards in the creation of the various artistic works, commemorative stills and mural frescoes. In the end, as part of the ongoing preparation of draft implementing legislation for Law 2404 of 26 February 2024, which lays down rules for disaster risk prevention, response and reduction, the government examined a draft executive decree on disaster risk response plans, setting out the organization and coordination of emergency assistance and response in the event of a disaster risk or specific risk affecting industrial installations and structures.
In an undue mixture of the commentary and established official statement, an organ of the private press has wrongly attributed unfounded remarks to the President of the Republic. According to the media outlet, these remarks were made by the Minister of Foreign Affairs on behalf of the President of the Republic at the recent Arab Islamic Summit in Riyadh, the ministry said in a press release. As both the written and audiovisual versions show, the Algerian declaration at the Riyadh summit does not in any way, shape, or form call for a reiteration of the 1973 Arab embargo. A simple reading of this declaration would suffice to show that the political, diplomatic, economic, and military sanctions referred to are those that Algeria is calling for to be imposed on the Zionist entity for the aggression, genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity that it is perpetrating with impunity in Gaza and throughout the region, according to the same source. The deputy from the Council of the Nation, Ms. Samia Al-Ulmi, has taken part via video conference in the dialogue of our parliaments on the protection of the elderly from violence, abuse, and neglect, organized by the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Western Asia, said a statement issued by the Council. According to Mrs. Al-Ulmi, the meeting was aimed at strengthening regional dialogue on the ways and means of caring for the elderly and preventing abuse, neglect, physiological, verbal, physical violence, and ill treatment affecting them. The representative of the National People's Assembly, Leila Yazidi, has also taken part via video conference in the dialogue of our parliaments organized by the United Nations Economic and Social Commission of Western Asia, ESCWA, on the protection of the elderly against violence, abuse, and neglect. MP Leila Yazidi underlined in her speech that Islam was the religion of the Algerian state, as provided for in Article 2 of the Constitution, represented as a milestone of the Algerian people who describe the Islamic values and principles. The Speaker of the Council of the Nation, Salah Koujil, has said in Algiers that the proclamation of the creation of the State of Palestine in Algeria is a pivotal and crucial stage in the history of the Palestinian question, which he said confirms the statement by the President of the Republic, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, that Palestine is a national cause for Algeria. In a speech at a forum organized by the Mash'al al-Shahid Association and the Daily Al-Mujahid to mark the 36th anniversary of the proclamation of the establishment of the State of Palestine in Algeria, read out on his behalf by Fouad Sebouta, member of the Council of the Nation and first deputy chairman of the Arab Parliament, Salah Koujil underlined that the proclamation of the State of Palestine embodies the decisions and of international legality, blocked by double standards and marginalized by the alliance of colonial powers in the world to protect its interests and ensure the continuity of the obsolete colonial ideology. The Palestinian question was not born of the flood of Al-Aqsa, but is, in fact, a crime of genocide that has been going on for 76 years, he recalled. And shifting now to the Middle East, where the number of UN staff killed in the Gaza Strip since the start of the Zionist genocidal war has reached 241, according to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, OCHA, in the occupied Palestinian territories. According to OCHA data, these victims include 237 people from the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, UNRWA. The other victims work for the World Health Organization, WHO, the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, the United Nations Office for Project Services, UNOPS, and the United Nations Department of Safety and Security, UNDSS. And the Palestinian authorities have announced losses amounting to around $4.8 billion in the transport sector in the occupied West Bank and the Gaza Strip following the ongoing Zionist aggression. Majid Mila has more details in this report.
According to the Palestinian news agency Wafa, this amount was revealed by the Palestinian Minister of Transport and Communications, Tariq Zoroub, in a speech to the 37th session of the Council of Arab Ministers of Transport, which kicked off on Wednesday in the Egyptian city of Alexandria. Taking the floor, Zoroub called on the Council's member states to support Palestine to help it draw up a comprehensive plan to overcome the transport crisis. He also insisted on the 300,000 tons of solid debris that have accumulated on the roads of Gaza as a result of ongoing Zionist bombardments and the resulting destruction. The Zionist entity has been waging a genocidal war on Gaza since October 7, 2023, claiming 43,712 martyrs and 103,258 wounded, most of them children and women as of yesterday, and more than 10,000 others missing in the midst of massive destruction and a murderous famine. According to the Palestinian authorities, in addition to the war of extermination in Gaza, the Zionist occupation army has extended its raids and the settlers have stepped up the attacks in the West Bank, including East al-Quds.
Still in the Middle East, the non-governmental organization Human Rights Watch has published a report accusing the Zionist entity of forced displacement of population in the Gaza Strip since the start of the savage aggression launched on October 7, 2023, which it described as a war crime. According to the NGO, the actions of the Zionist entity also appear to correspond to ethnic cleansing in areas where the Zionist army of occupation had ordered Palestinians to leave and to which they would not be able to return again. The A3 Plus group at the UN Security Council has called for an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, describing this step as essential to restoring a lasting peace in the region. In a speech to the members of the Security Council meeting on the situation in the Middle East, the representative of Guyana stated that the A3 Plus group, Algeria, Mozambique, Sierra Leone, and Guyana, is convinced that an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza remains the essential first step to restoring a lasting peace in the region. And now the ongoing Zionist aggression in Lebanon continues to claim lives, uproot communities, and destroy homes and vital infrastructure, resulting in more than 240 murders in a week. According to UN agencies, the number of victims continues to rise, with at least 241 people killed and 642 injured in 1 week as a result of Zionist airstrikes, notably in the south of the country, said the UN Office for the Coordination of Human Rights Affairs, OCHA, citing data from the Lebanese Ministry of Public Health. And the combined efforts or effects of the measures taken by governments around the world against climate change have stagnated over the last 3 years, a study warned today. According to projections by the Climate Action Tracker, a benchmark assessment tool, current climate measures would lead to warming of 2.7 degrees Celsius by 2100, as was already the case at the COP26 in Glasgow 3 years ago. Saad Bougazi has more details.
Taking into account commitments by 2030, the projections suggest a warming of 2.6 degrees compared with 2.5 degrees last year. The organization points out that little progress has been made in 2024, with almost no new national climate targets or promises of carbon neutrality. And this while emissions from fossil fuels continue to rise despite governments repeatedly agreeing to urgently strengthen their 2030 targets to bring them in line with the objective of limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees, the most ambitious target of the 2015 Paris Agreement.
And with this, we come to the end of this news bulletin for today. Time now to our special program about the 36th anniversary of the proclamation of the State of Palestine. Thank you and see you tomorrow.